All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Warring Triads, Week 3. We have Honeydew versus Drinks Glue. We have Team Guardian versus Team Doomgaze on this side. Drinks Glue being the representative of Team Guardian, and Honeydew being the representative of Team Doomgaze on this one. We're going to be doing the Poltergeist Fury flag set on this one, but before we continue on, joining me in the booth this evening, I have Joker Mage. What's going on, Joker? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, and I'm looking forward to this because these two teams are currently undefeated as far as the overall standings go, and both teams are currently have 5 individual wins out of a possible 6. So these are probably like two of the best groups in this event. And for those who aren't aware, the Warren Triads really takes that name to heart because each group is made up of 3 players who are working as a team. Each player for each week goes up against a player on another team in one of the 3 flag sets. So right now, as you see, we got Glue and Honey in the Poltergeist flag set. One of their teammates are going to be doing the other 2 flag sets at some other point. I'm not sure if we have the schedule on when exactly that's going to happen, but this is kind of like one of the bigger sort of matches that we've seen just because of how well both of these teams have been doing.
Right, you are there, Joker Mage. 30-second warning for us until we're away here, so looking forward to checking out this race. We'll talk more about that momentarily.
Yeah, and so Poltergeist flag set, you start with 3 characters. You need 7 characters and 9 espers to get to Kefka. And we also know that it does randomize the Kefka Tower skip, which has been very useful for sort of accelerating your seeds. This time we have 10 characters, 12 espers, and a stunningly low 22 checks. And I think anyone who's familiar with this will know that 22 checks is almost certainly going to hit on one or both of these players.
Okay, the timer is away, and we are underway, friends. Should be seeing our racers going here momentarily. Once we have them, but I've already dropped the flag at this point, and this should be a good one. And also, I'm a little interested in this race here, Joker Mage, because this is my division right here. I'm part of Team Atma. Unfortunately, we've had a pretty rough go of it at this point, but Honeydew and Drinks Glue are also in my same division here. I've had a chance to play and lose to both of these players, so I'm very curious to see them go head-to-head here. But as you mentioned, most importantly, they are undefeated for their respective triads. And it looks like Discord feed is frozen on my end. I don't know if you're seeing it on your side there, Joker Mage. There we go. Now we got it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we are. Underway. Fantastic.
Yeah. So we do have a start, a fairly decent start, I would say. Setzer, Realm, and Gao. Sketch, Health, and X Magic. That's a vanilla sketch on Realm.
Yeah, but let's talk about Poltergeist Fury. That one of the biggest things that we have here at our disposal is Y remove. The flag sets are themed after the Warring Triad or the statues within Final Fantasy VI, and Poltergeist has the Blaster ability, which is a instant kill move. So what we have is we have the ability to delete NPCs, and you can break some of the logic from the character gating that we have here. So, for example, Joker Mage, I would say out of the gate here, we have access to World of Ruin Narsh as we see Honeydew taking advantage of this right away, just deleting the door and getting into the Old Man. You can also grab the Cursed Shield pretty early on, but there's also some other good ones out there. Do you know of any other checks we can go to with the NPC remove or the
Yeah, the two that sort of stand out are going to be Mount Zozo, which has several chests, and Dragon that's normally gated by having Scion in your team, but we don't have a Scion here, but we do have Y remove. Additionally, you can, I haven't seen it quite as often, but I'm pretty sure you can use the Y remove to get access to the Figaro Castle engine room, and thus the Ancient Castle, which also has a dragon. It's a bit more involved, a bit longer of a check than just going up to Mount Zozo and looting some things and killing a dragon, though, so you don't see it as often.
Yeah, that's very rare at that point. Another one that's on the table here, folks, is dipping into Magitech Factory earlier than intended, which is normally gated behind Celis. But interesting to see that Honeydew went to World of Ruin Nourish right away to get that, whereas Drinks Glue rather, is following a more traditional looting path of going through World of Balance Nourish and then going to the Returner's Hideout for some extra chests. So, as usual for Worlds Collide, we're just trying to get ourselves some gear out of the gate here, get ourselves some offense and defense to kind of push our way forward at this point. With this being the Poltergeist flag set, we will not be seeing any of the other magic, and what I mean by that is Ice and Bolt is on the table. It's a spicy chicken, so only fire magic is really on the table as far as black magic goes. And I think, and maybe you can confirm this for me here, Joker Mage, I think Stop is also off the table for this one as far as the remove, but we have access to some other goodies like Ultima and Merton and other things too.
Yeah, anything that's like fire elemental is going to be completely accessible, but the ice and the lightning are not. And so it's really a question of like how many of times are you going to run into guys like Rexol, Flame Eater, and all them that are, you're not going to be able to kill them with magic quite as easily because you don't have those ice spells.
Rich, you are. Another thing to note about this is the progression. For those that have watched the weekly races and such that we've done that involve Ultros League, that's based on characters, espers, and dragons defeated, whereas the Warring Triad flag sets is all based entirely on number of checks completed. So sometimes if you get a dead check here, Joker Mage, you don't get a good item out of the deal here. You may want to depend about if you want to actually keep it or not, because you're actually pushing that scaling up even further.
Yeah, and scaling is always an interesting thing just because there are so many scaling options within the randomizer. I know that like when I just want to have fun and don't want to think about stuff, I'll often just turn on like highest level scaling just so I don't have to worry about grind fights. But in this case, we're actually doing something interesting where the power level of the enemies is scaling off of a different factor than the experience and gold you get from those enemies. So those dead checks still contribute to the enemy's power, but they don't really improve your rewards.
It looked like Drinks Glue putting that NPC removed to good use and slipping out the back of Figaro here. And I don't think I saw him loot the basement, but maybe I'm wrong here. We're going to see Honeydew head down there and kind of do their thing. We'll see where Drinks Glue's off to next at this point. And it looks like he's going to double dip, since you can access the same chest on the outside in World of Ruin South Figaro, and not to mention the shops will be a little bit different. So looks like he's going to be going a little more heavy-handed with the looting this time around. I respect that. Not a bad decision if you're not feeling good about it. Picks up an ice shield. As we mentioned, you can't learn ice magic, so that shield will not be teaching Ice 2 no matter if you have it equipped or not.
However, you can just break it and cast Ice 2 that way, I believe.
Yeah, and that is definitely viable to have that. And also, it's just elemental protection is also a good thing overall, as we see Honeydew rolling through here. I expect this to be a very close race here, Joker Mage. Both of these players very, very dedicated to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, extremely skilled, and have done well. Do you have a pick for this one, if you had to go either way on this?
There's this like story, probably apocryphal, of someone who was talking about how to a regular person a genius seems like a god, and like I am so far below regular person at Worlds Collide that these guys are just so incomparably above me. I'm just going to see what's happening and see if I can learn anything from it, and just assume that what they're doing is sorcery. But yeah, they're both like fantastic. I've gotten an opportunity to watch several of their races, and I just know this is going to be a good one. So everyone who's watching this is going to be in for a treat. I will say, however, that that weapon shop did not pan out. It looks like, because I am checking the tracker on Honeydew's side, and it did not show him getting an Esper from that weapon shop check.
Yeah, it looked like it was just dead items at that point that he went through. I will say that both of them looted their way through World of Ruin Nourish, and we found an experience egg there, and it looks like Honeydew beelining right to the Opera Dragon, and has some pretty good gear here. We saw some fixed dice go out there, some elemental shields, so he's already loaded for bear, and we're what, less than 7 minutes in, and we're about to go fight a dragon.
Yeah, and starting sets are and getting fixed dice early on is, just really nice because he's guaranteed to be able to equip it.
Yeah, still plenty to do here. So we got a gold dragon that's here, and already just one zap and Realm is down at this point. So we got to crank out the damage as quick as possible. But he wants to make sure that everyone's alive so he can get that scaling right now, especially if he's going to hold on to Murder Child.
And what's the status effect that gold dragon is vulnerable to?
That I don't know. I want to say stop or sleep or something along those lines, but you don't really see that often. So I think he's just going to be brute forcing it. 1,000 damage there from Pearl. And unfortunately, the AoE lightning. We have flame and ice shields. We never came across the thunder shield, however, so we're kind of stuck right now when it comes to that. Sets are hanging on with 7 health, Gal with 14. And Realm also there. That Bolt 2 is going to take down Setzer, unfortunately. Kind of a rough go of it at this point. But he's going to try. I think one more hit should do it. Here comes a sketch. What do we get for our trouble? Bolt 3. It's going to heal him back up, though, unfortunately. And that's a reset from Honeydew. Just a bad stroke of luck there.
Yeah, he's already down a check for scaling because of the miss at Weapon Shop. So that was going to definitely be a slightly tougher fight.
Makes me wonder if Drinks Glue is going to follow in his wake and try to get that dragon scaling here as well. You can keep me honest here, Joker Mage, and confirm this for me. The flag set has some sort of bonus for hunting down dragons. I know that we have certain things that if you do a certain amount of dragons, you're going to get some goodies for this. I think like auto haste and auto shell. I forget how many dragons are required at this point. And it looks like possibly another dead check at the Kalinjin Cafe at this point here for Setzer, but Drinks Glue still going through.
So if they do manage to get through 4 of the dragons, they will get auto haste and auto safe, which can be very useful. Just for making your party be able to act faster and resist some of the attacks. Additionally, if they can get a Colosseum win, they can pull a Dragoon set, which I believe is the Dragoon boots, and I'm not sure entirely what all is included. If you also get a spear of some kind and the all-powerful Dragon Horn.
See, to me, I thought that it was just the Dragoon Boots and the Dragon Horn. I didn't know if it included any other goodies on top of that, but those things alone, you got yourself a multi-jumper just basically in your pocket. Trick is, though, we didn't start with someone that naturally would be a good fit for that. If you have a Mog or an Edgar start, usually that's a pretty good one, but of course, there is random equipment here available.
Yeah, and additionally, among the dead check rewards, there are Dragon Horns, so even if that Dragoon set was only the Dragoon boots, there's still ways to pick up Dragon Horns.
So another dragon attempt here. Honeydew brute forced their way into Mount Zozo, the apartment mountain at this point. And it looks like it's Dirt Dargon that's hanging out here at this point. So again, not very lucky with any sort of elemental resistance here. Looks like Crack and Pearl out. Fixed dice not rolling particularly high. But also, Dirt Dragon not doing tons and tons of damage at this point. And let's see, here comes Magnitude 8 from Realm sketching things out. Let's see if that does anything. Misses because Dirt Dragon is floating and will use Quake. And here comes the Horned Tusk.
It's one of those secret enemies that looks like it's not floating, but actually is.
Right, exactly, yeah. It's just to prevent it from hurting itself, ultimately, it looks like. But nonetheless, here we're trying to push through. Setzer throwing out the fixed dice, and that's a Crack Boon first dragon down for Honeydew at this point. So maybe trying to get those 4 dragons, trying to get ahead of that scaling earlier if possible. So we'll see what we have there.
Getting the experience from the dragons is definitely a plus. And I mean, one of the downsides is you are going to miss out on those magic points. He does get an economizer, so maybe if we get the right espers or if we can unlock that curse shield, we will start seeing Big Blue come out. But for now, that's one dragon down. That's 50 magic points you'll have to find somewhere else. But it is also going to help recover after that one dead check.
Absolutely, right you are. All right, so we're going to see what's on top of the cliff here. Anything good? That is a Magicite. That is progression at this point. It looks like we got some Chimeras hanging out in Narsh. That looks like Drinks Glue taking some grind fights here about 12 minutes in. And also trying to uncurse that shield here, but does not have a ribbon in tow or a peace ring, it looks like. So Gao just having a great old time and just punching people in the back of the head.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Glue also was on 2 checks at this point. Did the weapon shop as well as the cafe check. That was Palador, so believe we're just going to have Jump City.
Yeah, we'll see how that one works out here. I will say, again, I think we touched upon this, but just so that you guys know where we're kind of standing at this point, that both of these teams are presently undefeated, Doomgaze and Guardian, and they both have 5 individual wins and have won their first 2 weeks at this point. So this is kind of a pivotal match here that we're gonna break out the someone's gonna be taking an L here at this point, at least from an individual standpoint. So we'll see how that one actually turns out. On top of the division right now is Doomgaze. Again, that's on Honeydew's side at this point, just based on their margin of victory. But Guardian definitely no slouch here that Glue is trying to carry the banner for as best as possible. But that being said,
Yeah,
I think Go ahead, Joker.
I was just going to say, there's always the very, very outside chance that they tie.
That would be fantastic. I would love to see it. That is absolutely for sure here. And honestly, these two are very, very closely matched. So this is definitely going to be good overall. But I mean, anything can happen with the randomizer. And they've followed somewhat similar paths in some regard. But we've already seen Honeydew kind of strike first blood, get that dragon and a Magicite out of the deal here. Whereas Drinks Glue is still kind of working their way through those initial grind fights and kind of get their footing.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. The scaling for boss rewards is off character espers and dragons, right?
Character espers, dragons. I think it also just checks in general. I think is how everything is tied to this, both for bosses and otherwise. And if memory serves, I think it also scales all the way up to level 50. So if you stack them really, really high, you could be dealing with some pretty nasty stuff. I guess one of the big things we should talk about, if this is your first time checking out a Warring Triad seed, is the big problem here, folks. And this is something that's always in the back of your head while playing. Is the statues at the end are shuffled. And what do we mean by that is, in Kefka's Tower, there are the 3 statues and there are 3 separate lanes, but they are separated and shuffled between themselves. So they're not in their normal spots, potentially, at this point. But with you only having about 6 or 7 people at your disposal, you're constantly thinking about getting that offense up as best as possible for those fights. That is the true challenge. And you see it so late in the seed, and things can go so right or so wrong depending on how things go. And hey, look at this, Drinks Glue right now in the Serpent Trench, whereas we had Honeydew venturing up into the Narsh snowfields, finding a blue dragon there and taking the reset.
Yeah, and I just quickly looked at the flag set to confirm. So we do have that the boss or enemy leveling and enemy health is 2.5 times the check count, whereas the experience in gold you gain is going to be 2.5 times the character Esper dragon count, I believe.
Oh, the experience is tied to it. Fantastic. Very good. Thank you, Joker.
Yeah, and additionally, we do have just in general 3 times experience, 5 times magic points, and 5 times gold also applied, I think, and that's just over the base levels. But the main point is that those dead checks are going to accelerate the difficulty of the bosses faster than the rewards you get.
Right, you are, Joker. Cranes are on top of the cliffs here for the Tritalk spot at this point. So 1 crane is down for Honeydew at this point. And we're working our way through this very haunted, very spooky Serpent Trench on Drinks. Lots of like ghosts and ghoulies that they're fighting at this point. And looks like cranes are down. Let's see what this check holds for Honeydew. And that is a dead check, ladies and gentlemen. That is an item. Is it anything good? It's an offering, but we don't really have anything other than fixed dice. I think he's just going to go ahead and throw it on there and hope for the best, because, you know, right now that's kind of our main piece, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
Right. Yeah, and Serpent Trench is a really great choice if you're concerned about the scaling, just because there's no boss fights, and you get to take some fixed encounters. As long as you can handle the encounters, this is really just sort of like a cutscene that gives you experience.
It's very good to prioritize those grind checks early on, checks that have required fighting. at this point. Looks like Honeydew going to take another stab at Blue Dragon after beating those cranes there, and that might be the right move here. So here comes the offering fixed dice. Let's see how Setzer rolls. A lot of the damage here, it ignores defense entirely. It's just based on what you see on the dice themselves. And look at that, one turn, Blue Dragon down. That's 2 dragons already for Honeydew.
Yeah, so halfway to the haste and safe bonus, but it's also just those dragons are going to boost up the rewards, like the experience and gold gains from enemy fights.
So gets a Genji glove for his troubles. So Genji glove and offering, depending on if we can find ourselves some half-decent legendary weaponry, we can have ourselves a nice little build here, possibly.
Or you can just find another set of fixed dice and just have 8 fixed dice.
Right you are. Yeah, that would be kind of fun, but that's a bit too much dice, and it just goes on forever. And your reward for the end of Serpent Trench is Ifrit for Drinks Glue. So Drinks Glue also on the board here for Magicite. Gonna be doing some shopping here in Nakia. Let's see if there's anything good in the shop for them to find. There's a Yeti ring. There's a peace ring, so he can uncurse that cursed shield in peace at this point. So very, very nice.
Yeah, it's also important to remember that Honeydew's Esper is out of logic technically, because that did come from the Mount Zozo check, whereas the Espers that Glue has, I believe, are checks from the characters that he has. It does also, however, beg the question of like where's character number 4? Why haven't we checked yet?
So we know we've checked Setzer with the freebie for him. We got Magicite from Gao, since that's guaranteed progression on the Velt. And the Serpent Trench provided another Magicite at this point. So if I was a betting man, Joker Beige, and I'm not, but if I was a betting man, I'm going to say that it's going to be either it's going to be Owzer's Mansion or Esper Mountain here under Realms checks. And it looks like we're going to be going to Esper Mountain here first. Nice and quick. You can kind of peek and see. So we'll find out whether or not this is the case. But if it's not this, it's going to be Owzer. And I don't believe anyone has walked up to Kefka at Narsh to see if that's what's holding us back.
Yeah, that's always fun when that's the place to go, because it's almost always going to be last location, just because it's a bit out of the way, even though it's in Narsh. But no one wants to walk up the mountain unless they have to.
Honeydew throwing a bunch of dice at the sun and doing some work. Flame Eater going down in the Doomgaze spot at this point. If you have Setzer, you have the access to the Search the Skies command, so you can just basically find what Doomgaze would be. And this is either an item or a Magicite. Once again, a dead check for this one. Let's see if it's a worthwhile item for us this time. And we get ourselves another Genji glove, unfortunately.
Okay, and on Glue's side, I'm pretty sure that was Go-Go we saw here at Esper Cave.
Go-Go, okay. So either we follow that path or we go to Owzer's Mansion at this point to see what's next. Typically, the patterns you'll notice with World Tide is if you want to find more characters, typically you want to pivot your focus to another character you just recently picked up, as the logic, from what I understand, will usually favor that more often than not. So, the Zone Eater may have another character, we can kind of go from there. But it is possible we could have someone there also. Uh-oh! Drinks Glue, everyone's kind of confused on this side here, unfortunately. And looks like...
Meanwhile, with Honeydew, he probably heard me and decided to go ahead and do Figaro Engine Room out of logic. And
yeah, how about this?
It does pay off because that was Locke.
How about this? Yeah, so Locke is there, and that's gonna be a good one to see. You've got some quick checks to deal with. Phoenix Cave, I probably wouldn't go into at this point, but I digress. Atma down on Drinks Glue's side, going to be getting himself a Mimic to work with here, it looks like, from what you had said. Let's see, and that is the case. Fantastic. Let's go. So both competitors here are going to be having their 4th character together very soon. Drinks Glue going to be walking out, probably going to go to the Triangle Island and World of Ruin to get eaten by the Zone Eater and see what's down there.
Yeah,
we're about to go into the
interesting. It's interesting that Glue is continuing to sort of follow the available checks, while Honeydew is just going for the Wyvern move and breaking logic to go wherever he wants to.
I mean, hey, it's something that you have available to you. It is a powerful tool you have available to you in this flagship specifically. It's also just fun to do in general, because you're completing things that are out of logic. you're getting some things that potentially your other runner or other competitor would not be getting at this point. And also, you still have access to all the in-logic things that you have in the character getting. So definitely no disadvantage here by going for it. And we'll see how things work out with Locke once he gets a hold of it. And maybe those checks will be fruitful for Honeydew after coming up short on a couple of things now. We saw, the dead checks that have kind of reached along the way here.
Who's also searching the skies? We already know that this will not pay off.
Yeah, but it's at least you don't have to worry about running into something here in the skies, and you're able to drive around freely from what we saw. Drinks Glue using the strafe ability of the airship, you can't actually get into a Doomgaze encounter at that point. So now you can just fly as fast as possible and not have to worry about the issue in the first place. So that peace of mind, I think, is worth actually doing this fight.
Yeah, and it's not a particularly difficult one from what it seems, especially this early on. Both of them just like flew right through that flame eater.
Yeah, very, very good on both sides, and he'll be getting his Genji glove for that one for his troubles. So hopefully he can find something to pair with it, possibly. We'll see if that's the case. So a couple Espers on this side here grabs Locke. We have 4 characters on each side, so potentially 2 different paths here we could take here, Joker.
Yeah, and I always love when that happens because it's always fun when the seed just has some level of divergence, even if we achieve this through Y remove. It does sort of give you a different sort of outcome and flow to the game.
Yep. So it looks like Drinks Glue opted to go with Owzer's Mansion, which has 2 required fights to get through. So again, trying to stack up the experience out of the gate there. Getting stopped by Toe Cutter. If we had someone that was a rage user, that would be a half decent rage to work with for Shrapnel. At this point, wow, 2.7k off that fire too. Very nice.
So Honeydew did pull a heal rod out of one of those chests. Also a heroing remedy, but the heal rod could potentially be useful because you could equip that on the same person you're equipping your curse shield on, and then when they hit your party, they actually are healing you instead.
So it looks like Drinks Glue not opting to skip this fight. It is skippable if you go all the way down to the bottom and hug the wall, but opting to get pulled into it though, and it should be a quick fight and get some quick work out of it. 1,000 experience for his troubles at this point, and one more fight to go until we get to the boss of Owzer's Mansion. And it looks like we're taking a trip to the ancient castle here. Honeydew making quick work of kind of routing together these the dragons here, since we know that he's taken down the opera. No, he did not take down the opera dragon. He ran away from that reset. Since he was running it, that was the gold dragon that was there. He took down Mount Zozo and the blue dragon that we saw in the snowfields of Narish. So let's see what's lurking down in the ancient castle at this point too.
Yeah, and he could go back for that Opera House dragon after this one, just with the additional power and the extra member of the party. It could be a lot more doable at this point.
Right, you are. That actually is not a bad idea, and he'll get those 4 dragons extremely early. Those nice buffs. I believe that auto haste is very underrated because that just completely buffs your damage for everybody. Because hey, you're doing more damage if you're getting more turns, and you're doing it more quickly. And the earlier you get it, the better benefit you have throughout the seed here. So I respect that routing decision. Very good.
He finds another ice shield, which is helpful. Doesn't seem to be taking the 2 monsters in the boxes that are in here, but maybe could go back for those later if he really wants another offering.
See, that's the thing. He already has an offering in his pocket at this point. I can't imagine he'd be really looking for anything. We have Strago in the back, so that is character number 5 for Honeydew at this point. So not the best checks in the world. And it doesn't look like he has the best stats or commands, but here's our dragon fight. Let's see what we have here to work with. And that's an ice dragon. We got plenty of ice shields to work with, so this one should be fairly safe.
Yeah, the characters equipped with the ice shield are not going to get really damaged at all. Plus, we have fire magic, so this guy's going to be toast.
Basically, literally at this point here. We're 3,000 from Murder Child, 1,800 from Gao. We're rolling some dice at him. We're going to be making quick work of it. That'll be 3 dragons down for Honeydew here in quick order.
Yeah, I expect he'll probably go back to Opera House, maybe not right away, but fairly shortly, just to get those 4 fights under his belt.
I would believe at this point he would probably route that in if I had to guess. Even if he doesn't have Thunder Shield to work with, I think that he's feeling pretty confident with his level of damage now, and he should be able to sustain himself to get through that fight. So I would be very surprised if he goes elsewhere at this point. Let's see what's at Owzer's mansion here. It's Funbaba just having some fun with painting. And at this point, but you know, or as the Schwantz would say, the beast that skipped leg day. Literally every day, but nonetheless, here we are, a Thunder Beast again. So kind of interesting that we've run into a couple of pretty scary Thunder things, and just we haven't really had too many options to get around it. But not too bad here at this point. I think Drinks Blue get through this no problem, and we'll go from there. Ancient Castle wrapped up for Honeydew. We're gonna go ahead and emerge and see where we end up.
I mean, it also does make me curious about where Edgar's hiding, since both Strago and Locke were, you know, technically gated by Edgar, but, you know, we don't have to worry about that right now.
It's a fair assessment there, yeah. So he actually picked up 2 characters there for just breaking logic, so kind of nice. And from what we're seeing here, we need 7 characters, 9 Espers to get that final Kefka unlock at this point. So at this point, Honeydew 2 away from that, but 1 piece of Magicite in his pocket, whereas Drinks Glue 2 pieces of Magicite, 4 characters at this point. But I would say Honeydew probably up slightly here at this point based on the number of dragons that they have. And if they're about to get this one done, they're going to get that buff, like I said, and that's definitely going to speed them up.
So that's Magicite 3 on Glue's side. That was just an imp, but it was holding on to Ramu.
Not too bad. Kind of interesting to see that Drinks Glue kind of pushing the Magicite side, whereas Honeydew's finding everything that they need as far as characters go. Serendipitous luck here, where Honeydew only getting hit with a singular target lightning spell out of the gate, Plasma, as opposed to, you know, wrecking the entire party with something here. Doing about 400 damage or so. Hopefully the offering here will come together. 4,000 damage for that roll, 2,000 there. Sets are swinging for the fences here. This drag might be done.
Yeah, this has gone much better. Just like you could tell just by like how much, because I think like the dragon before was like one-shotting the party back when they were on low levels, and now it's not even scratching like a third of their health.
And now it's Drinks Glue turn for some breaking and entering inside of the Mount Zozo apartment at this point here. So gonna be breaking there, probably gonna be doing the dragon, and we'll be getting that Magicite on top of the cliff, if memory serves. I think, yeah, there was a Magicite there, and that is dragon number 4 down for Honeydew, and we'll be getting those rewards for doing so early.
Now, this is a question, something that gets brought up every now and then, and it seems sort of relevant right now. Do you prefer getting characters sooner, or do you prefer getting your Espers sooner?
I prefer Espers. I like having those options available. And then if I'm grinding characters up, those average levels will push, you know, those that come into your party at that point. And also, if you find a magic +2, magic power +2, or strength +2 Esper early on, you can just strap that to someone and have an amazing amount of stats early on at this point, as opposed to getting bombarded with characters, and then I can feel overwhelmed with the number of checks I have available to me. So that's just how I would roll.
Okay, Honeydew's doing a bit of shopping into Zen, and I think we'll see some price tags coming up shortly. And 20k for Crusaders, probably not too bad of a deal, especially since you only had 1 starting.
Quick and easy, not too bad. Setzer, however, taking a nap at the end of that Dirt Dragon fight in Mount Zozo. Will not be getting any experience, unfortunately, from that fight for Drinks Glue, but we're pushing forward. That's the dragon down for them as well.
Yeah,
so now, where to?
Well, we do have Strago checks, so maybe something Strago. Oh, we're doing Coliseum to get the Dragoon set.
Yeah, we don't have any natural spear users here, but maybe, just maybe, we have someone that has one in their pocket to work with. Let's see what's up for grabs here. I think we see Illumina up for grabs. And we do remember we've got those Genji gloves, so we can get 2 of those. You can do some amazing work. X-Zone getting look at the pro strat from Setzer in the Coliseum. That's a free Illumina.
Yeah, if he has any extra X potions, you can just get a few more of those.
Yeah, go out inside and save and give it another go. It looks like you got a Genji glove. You can just basically put that on lock here, and he'll be good to go. That's an end game build straight up there. If you're dual wielding Illuminas, got 2 beefy stat sticks to work with at that point. You have a lot of evasion, and that will very much take the place of a shield very well as a whole ton of damage, and both of them being able to proc.
We do see Experience Egg on lock. Looks like double earrings on Realm. That makes sense. And we did see the Dragoon boots and the Dragon Horn in the inventory and going back in. So I think we are going to try and get a second one.
Yeah, not sure how many he's got, but clearly that is available to beat. And looks like he's switching to lock here. Start swinging. There's one block from lock, and there's a swing and a kill, another Illumina. Like, throw that Genji glove on there and get 2, or start putting on other folks.
Okay, Glue is headed to Daryl's tomb, which is Setzer's remaining check, I think, that we haven't seen yet. This is peekable because you can see the name on the tomb and just reset out if you don't like what you see.
It looks like going to grab a piece of Genji armor here. Farting like a harpy eye. Very, very easy to take that one down there. So doing a pretty good job of picking things up here in the Coliseum for Honeydew here.
There's some really great trades here in the Coliseum. Like, you don't always see that.
Agreed. And here's the thing is, like, you have, I believe it's between 100 and 120 items that you can see what they are, and clearly you can find some very, very amazing things that are there at this point. And Honeydew, I think just with that alone, on top of everything else, with the auto haste, I mean, he's going to be slapping and just tearing his way through here at this point. I don't think he's going to be fearing scaling. And if he really wanted to, that build is fairly sustainable if you juggle the equipment around between the statues. Because you can unequip your people after using it, give them the Genji glove and those dual Illuminos to work with. Now they'll tear through pretty decently if their strength is halfway decent, and if they can use them, of course.
But yeah, so Honeydew is also following Glue into the tomb. So we'll see what's here very shortly. Mog. Okay, there's our character.
So another character for Drinks Glue, and Honeydew going to be picking up their 6th character here. So possibly 6 characters, 4 dragons, and 2 pieces of Magicite. This is going to be interesting. The Rappa is also pretty free to get through here.
I think, doesn't X Zone work on Narappa?
Narappa is vulnerable to instant death, that is correct.
And we already know that, I think Honeydew Setzer has X Zone.
Yeah, we saw him use that for the first Illumina and just basically taking down that character quickly, so if he pops that off there, he'll be pretty good, but otherwise he can just swing with the Illuminas and take her out in one turn. But we're curious to see what Mog's got. We have that Dragoon set on Honeydew's side, so if Mog has half-decent strength to work with, that might be your Lancer. Yep, swinging the Illumina right there. 4.6, not enough to get the Condemned skip, however, unfortunately. So we're watching that animation, but one more turn should take care of it. And Narappa down on Drinks Glue side, going to be grabbing Mog and getting on out of there. And Honeydew won't be too far behind. So even though that we had kind of some weird divergence here, we have some slight convergence as well, but still plenty of options left on the table for both runners to go their own separate ways.
Yeah, and Glue hasn't checked out the Coliseum yet, so doesn't know that there's basically free Illuminas for sale there. And also doesn't have the Dragoon set for that Mog.
Right, you are. Yeah, we'll see how that one actually plays out at this point. So, Honeydew looking where to go next, and looks like we're stopping off. I'm not sure where we're at here. I didn't see where actually he flew to.
This is Jidor.
Jidor, yes. So doing a little bit of shopping, maybe popping in for Owzer's Mansion, which we know, I think, is a piece of Magicite that was down there. I think you said Rama was down there.
Yep.
And,
so Glue got Crusader as well.
Fantastic. So good progress here. Quick and heavy. 35 minutes in here. And they're pushing. They're both at this point just off and running. The loot is basically off the table. Everything that you have and want is basically here for both offense and defense, especially if you're Honeydew.
Yeah, earlier on, it felt Glue might have been slightly behind just by having fewer characters, but made up for it by having far more espers, and now it kind of feels like Honeydew is a bit further behind just having fewer espers.
And now we're doing the Velt check, and petting the good boy Lobo, and Locke gonna be or feed some meat to this hungry merchant, I guess. Here's this beef jerky. We'll trade that beef jerky for a Magicite. And that's another one here for Honeydew. Bahamut was on the belt at this point, too.
And Glue is showing no respect for the other party members or even the crew of the airship, just while removing Mog and the party change guy.
It's just having some fun with it, yeah. Don't worry, folks. They're okay. We promise.
Me Moogles have wings, I think.
Little tiny ones. They don't fly around with them, though. I mean... Nonetheless. All right, so let's see what we're off to here. World of Balanced Narsh for Drinks Glue. I'm curious to see. Well, he picked up Mog, so we have Lone Wolf as well as Moogle Defense. Looks like he's going to be going to Arvis's house, so Moogle Defense it is. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's possible the Lone Wolf might be a reason to go check out. Probably not as much right now because that is a Yeti.
Drinks Glue just won the seed, in my opinion. Founding the Yeti first, I mean, that's a win in my book. We'll see if he actually adds him to the party or leaves him alone at this point. But, you know, Beefy Boy Yeti can put in some work, especially if you put the experience egg on him. I don't think he's going to hold on to him, though, unfortunately. 37 minutes in. If you found him earlier, he may have put in some work, but we'll see how he gets there. Do a couple of quick skips here and see what waits at the end of it.
Yeah, and Yeti can potentially be an answer to Fanatic's Tower, which we have Strago already, I think, on... actually, I don't think Glue found him, because that was one of the ones Honey did.
Opting not to do any skips here, just going right for it, and we got some ninjas, which can be kind of nasty if they have a chance to get a turn off and start throwing things, but Murder Child going to be making quick work of them.
Yeah, Glue has been taking a lot of fights. I'm not sure if he's just concerned about scaling or if he's just wants to just try and get a slight edge.
So, I think again, when you're running these siege, you're constantly keeping those statues in the back of your mind. So, better to be over prepared than under prepared ultimately, and you get stonewalled there at the very end, basically at the finish line. So I mean I respect it. Drinks Glue is obviously very, very good at what they do and knows what they're doing. So we'll see how things pan out here. But again, I think Honeydew right now has the edge with having those dual Luminas, which is very fast, high damage, very fast animation to work with, and can push through. And again, you can kind of juggle those around, and we'll see what we got from there.
And Honeydew
all 3 fights here.
Yeah, and Honeydew also does have auto haste, which is going to just speed things up even more.
Agreed. So it's a lot of good things in Honeydew's court at this point. So Team Doomgaze looking pretty at this point. Maybe Team Guardian kind of looking on with some nerves for Drinks Glue, but we'll see once we get to the finish line. Still plenty of racing action to come here, folks. While we have a moment here, let me go ahead and plug this. If you dig what you see, folks, make sure you join the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide community, ff6worldscollide.com. Thank you again for joining us here on SpeedGaming for our weekly Wednesday race at 8 p.m. Various events going on. Right now we have the Warring Triads. This is week 3 of 6 for the group stage, if you will. We're going to have the elimination bracket following that, and that'll lead in likely into our next event, which will probably be Ultras League Season 6. So definitely go check that out, ff6worldscollide.com, ultrasleague.com if you want to check that out too and see what that was like. Some really, really great stuff. Join the Discord, hop in. Wonderful community. And Joker Mage, I'm sure you can confirm with me. One of the greatest communities, super helpful, with people just falling over each other to help you out if you have any questions whatsoever to get you up and running. We'll get you out here, and you can have yourself some fun and also join us for some races too.
Yeah, we have a great community here. It's been lots of fun. There's plenty to do that's not just warring triads too. So there's always something going on. So if you're looking at this, you're just saying this is pretty cool, but it's not exactly my thing. Still come over and check out what else is around. And we do see Glue going for that lone wolf check. He did get the Yeti, so he can also potentially go switch back to World of Ruin and do the Yeti check along with Tritalk.
Well, he's also going to be able to peek what's at Yeti while he walks up here. You can take a look at the upper cave at this point. And interestingly enough here, it seems like Glue poked his head into Esper Mountain but walked away. But he needs 7 characters, so I'm kind of curious about this. Maybe he didn't want Go-Go. I don't know.
Well, you mean Honeydew?
Yeah, Honeydew poked his head into Esper Mountain and walked away there. He didn't finish that up from what I saw. Maybe I missed it, but he's checking tunnel armor now to see what he's got here. It's Uncle Alti, Ultras 1 actually.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's like he sees that he needs 5 more Espers, and he's like, okay, well, I know there's a character there. I can come back for that once I've found my Espers.
Speaking about Espers, picking up Kieran here at Tunnel Armor, I believe that puts them at 5 of the 9 that they're going to need. And you'll never get this Dragon Horn. Well, don't worry, we're not going to need that on Drinks Glue's side.
Yeah, there's Dragon Horns to find, and you can always do a Coliseum fight, so Dragon Horn from there is just not important. And Raiden, however, is helpful.
So we're going to be potentially climbing down the mountain, maybe doing some Kefka at Narsh. Could potentially have another piece of Magicite here, because we have an Imp standing there. Going to be going their way through, and then the plus side is you get through this and you get transported back down to Arvis's house, and you don't have to make the climb back down, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and we do see Honeydew. Yeah, he's going to do the Lone Wolf check, and I wonder if they're going to just roll that into Kefka and Narsh if they're useful up there.
We'll probably get our first peek at it on Drinks Glue's side. We'll see what we have happen here, but I will say that looking at Glue's levels, he's pretty beefy. All those fights he took, he's feeling pretty good about himself at this point, I think, even with the scaling.
Now, we do know that, however, Honeydew only has to do Moogle defense and will also be at 7 characters.
This is also true. So we'll let that roll here. So he's going to be basically bundling these together. You can go up and do Lone Wolf, Kefka at Narsh, and then since you get dropped off at Arvis's house, you can do that Moogle defense. So it's a nice clustering of checks. I like that routing decision. We'll see how that one works out for Honeydew as we have Kefka at Narsh for Drinks Glue.
And we see Glue letting the Yeti go solo on defense while the other team goes into the attack.
Hey, that's all you need. I mean, you should put him in, coach, at this point. Another Magicite for Honeydew. Gonna be wrapping things up here. Some pretty nasty soldiers that we have for Kefka and Narsh. Some spooky boys from either Phoenix Cave or Sealed Gate, or just, overall just nasty stuff overall. A lot of undead throughout the Revivifies and all that nonsense too. But again, point this out, that Glue taking these fights, not shying away from skipping them, trying to make sure that you have enough experience for that ending at this point. So we'll see how that turns out. Now let's see how Honeydew approaches. I think he's going to go for the skips. I don't think he's going to take these grind fights.
And, here we also see one of the other aspects of this flag set is the multicast Espers. Or was that just a mimic of the Bahamut?
No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Poltergeist does have multi-summon, which is a great way to get around that elemental restriction of being able to learn it. But Bahamut, that's non-elemental AoE damage. That's fantastic. It's basically Ultima Light you can summon at will. And we do see Honeydew waiting, gonna be going for that audio cue, and gets through. Does not take a single fight. Will be the first one to get down there. And it looks like it's gonna be the Ifrit Shiva fight at this point. So it should be a pretty clean go-through for them once they get through it. Gonna be doing some slot manipulation. Chocobob. Oh, Flare Star coming out. Yeah, that's a big, beefy amount of damage. if it ain't playing, Joker Mage.
Yeah, and Glue decided to just crack an ice rod, which, you know, makes perfect sense. It's one of the few ways you're going to get ice damage out onto a fire elemental.
Well, both of them done with their fights here. Drinks Glue, the first one to get it done. Let's see what our reward is for all of our trouble. And it's looking like we're going to be getting ourselves another piece of Magicite. So Honeydew going to be glad to see that. Going to be grabbing a piece of Magicite and then a character following that chain into Moogle Defense, which is kind of nice. That'll get them their character requirement and 2 Espers away. And whereas we have 2 Espers away and 1 character needed for Drinks Glue's side at this point. So the convergence is going to happen here, Joker Mage, sooner rather than later. Honeydew will probably have the slight advantage here, but it's all going to come down to those final climbs and the final fights that we have with the statues especially.
Yeah, I do wonder if Glue is going to try to get any of the dragons, or if he's planning on saving it, like get the Dragon Tsar in Kefka's Tower, possibly, to get the auto haste autosave.
That's definitely a viable decision that you have, especially if you've got some warp stones and such to work with. I don't believe we touched upon what the requirements were for the skip that you can get, where you can go right to the statues at this point, but with all these large number of characters and dragons and such, I think it was 22 checks that were required. You can keep me honest there, Joker Mage.
Yeah, we went over it briefly at the beginning, but that was, you know, a whole lot less sea to go, so a lot of interesting stuff has happened. But yeah, it was, I believe it was 10 characters, 12 Espers, 22 checks. I don't think the characters, or, I mean, the character ones could happen too. Definitely, I think Honeydew would be closer to getting that, possibly. But it's far off. So is the Esper one. So it's more likely we're going to see a skip check, if we're going to see any.
Now this is kind of gutsy here. Look at this. Drinks Glue finds a Minerva in the Zone Eater, if I saw that correctly, opting not to save and just going for it at this point and just walking through.
That leader is not long for this world.
He's pretty much toast. 7,000 damage, 2,000 damage. Yeah, he's taking a beating. And that is Celis in the belly of the beast here in Zone Eater.
Okay, and that's going to be 7 characters for Glue.
So how about this? 7 characters, 7 Espers, 4 dragons. To Drinks Glue's 7 Espers, 7 characters, 1 dragon.
But in exchange for that, I think Glue does have a slight level advantage.
Yeah, we've seen an ample amount of grinding here at this point. Lands at the Magitech factory, but then reconsiders something. Maybe swapping the party out a little bit here. Opting for a similar setup than what they had previously. So if I had to guess, and this is a pretty high likelihood, that in Magitech Factory, you're going to be doing the first 2 checks that have a very good chance of dropping Magicite at this point. You grab those 2, warp out, and you're good to go, and then Drinks Glue can start popping in to KT, or maybe trying to opt for those dragon cleanups at this point, but he's already very, very strong.
But we also see Honeydew doing the same strategy, only doesn't have Celeste because hasn't gone to Zone Eater yet. So it's just going to remove the guards.
So how about that? We have a mad dash here at this point to finish these 2 checks up, and I think this might be our line of conversions right here, Joker.
Yeah, this has been really interesting just because you see, we've seen like Honey just make extensive use of that Y remove. You know, went to Mount Zozo pretty quickly, went to Ancient Castle pretty quickly to get the character advantage for a while. And, you know, doesn't have Celeste, but it's doing the same exact check because Y remove is a thing.
Yeah, when I was told pretty early on that if you have the ability to break logic, do so. It can be a benefit to you at this point, and Honeydew definitely has flexed and done a pretty good job. We saw Drinks Glue pop into Mount Zozo and such, but you know, Honeydew definitely using it to its fullest extent. Yeah,
and at this point, I think it's going to come down to whether the you know, like the level advantage versus the gear and dragon advantage.
Right, you are. So, it looks like Ultros 2, the Opera House fight, was in the Ifrit Shiva spot. Let's see what we get for our troubles for that one as soon as they allow us to move. And Fenrir, that is a piece of Magicite here. One more fight potentially for Honeydew to be in go mode.
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure how much of a level advantage Glue might actually have, because it looks like they're actually could be closer than it seems. Like, that realm's already 42, so we're already dealing with some very high-level parties, I think.
You know what? Think about it, though, with the number of dragons that we have there. Dragons are a big chunk of experience here that Honeydew has been able to soak up by comparison's sake, so that's probably why they're a little bit closer. And speaking about close, they're like one room apart here at this point. Like, they're both getting in the same fight at the same time. We're going to be in go mode pretty much at the exact same time here, Joker. Man, it's going to be a mad dash to KT.
As long as this pays off and isn't some kind of dead check, but we'll find out very shortly.
Don't you put that bad juju out in the world there, Joker. I don't want to hear about that negative energy. I want to see this hype. I want to see the mad dash to KT for both of our runners here.
Well, you got it. That's Golem. Fenrir and
Fantastic.
Golem, both at Magitech. Like, if you wanted calmness protection, this is where you had to come.
How about it? I mean, like we said, I mean, this is a good place to go to. A very high likelihood of getting those two pieces of Magicite for, you know, very close battles. It's not hard to go through by any means, and both of our runners now have KT access unlocked. Or Final Kefka, I should say. You can dip into KT early, but Final Kefka, the most important thing.
Yeah, so I guess all right, so we do see Glue going for Opera House Dragon now. I wonder what their actual check count is at right now. I'm not sure if we have that available to us.
So this is curious. What is Drinks Glue doing here that I may have missed?
He hasn't done the Opera House Dragon yet, has he?
Sorry, Honeydew. Honeydew is in World of Ruin Narsh, and he's climbing the
Oh,
mountain.
yeah.
I'm wondering then if they're close, they may have just a couple of checks away, and they're going to do this rather than dipping down into KT to do a check at this point. Maybe going up to do Yeti Cave or something along those lines. I don't know.
This might be Lone Wolf too.
Ah, yes. What did Lone Wolf have in his pocket? And there
And that's
it
his
is.
skip. Yeah, just go. Yeah, go bother Lone Wolf in the Moogle Cave. Get your skip.
That's slick.
Makes a lot more sense.
You know what? I hadn't even considered that as something that incremented the check counter. All things considered, going to actually talk to him, that is some heads-up play right there for Honeydew. That didn't even cross my mind as an available idea here. So guess what? It's not a mad dash through KT. We've got the skip. We're going to the statue at this point. Honeydew going right for the throat.
Yeah, and I wonder how many checks Glue is at this point, because that's probably going to be the best way for him to catch up, is if he can also get skip.
See what path he follows at this point, but Honeydew basically had the skip around the 54-minute mark at this point, so he's working on a potentially very good time, and he's in a good spot overall as far as gear and such goes. So let's see how this plays out, Joker.
Yeah, and I got the word from our restreamer, the Schwans, that Glue is actually on 18 checks, so is still 4 away from skip.
Thinking a little bit about what they want to do and how they want to approach this at this point. Maybe that was just what they wanted to grab. Looks like they're going to save right outside of KT, then pop in, but they're going to have to walk their way through, if I had to guess. At this point, if they're 4 checks away, it might be best just to say, hey, you know, look, it takes about 5 minutes or so to get to the statues or the switches at that point, and getting through the Inferno fight to walk everyone through if you do everything pretty optimally and skip the chests and such. So we'll see how he plays it. But talking about bosses, the first boss here in the Guardian spot, that's Doulahan for Honeydew. Speaking of, by the way, big shout outs to the Schwans, handling the tracking and the restreaming, the MVP, the man behind the curtain that you should all pay attention to. Also, a prolific person, just handles so much stuff behind the scenes to make the Worlds Collide restreaming stuff work. So it's a big shout outs and big hand to him. He's in the chat right now, folks. Give him a hand. That being said, Locke swinging those Illuminas, doing some decent damage there, especially with that Pearl proc taking down Doulahan. So one boss down, 3 statues to go until we're at the switches to start making that final climb. At this point, let's see what we have in the center slot. Typically, this would be Poltergeist on the outside of KT, as we see Drinks Glue working their way through KT as well. But they have a much longer walk to get there, whereas Honeydew was able to pick up that skip relatively quickly.
Yeah, and this is sort of where the real challenge of this flag set comes in, is we got 5,000 gold from the validation check chest, and this is Doom, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, so here comes North Cross, Rude out of the gate. Only one person getting frozen, and Locke can be swinging for the fences here, getting those procs. That Pearl's going to do a lot of damage here, Joker.
Yeah, Glue has a painting as ambush spot, so probably just needs to set fire to it once it actually becomes vulnerable.
And look at that. Nicely done. The Pearl dropping once again. It's going to be quad 9s. Lots and lots of damage for Doom here. Perfect setup here. It should be a quick fight. It's going to leave us with 2 statues left. Nicely done. Very fast.
Yeah, that was very well done.
So now here's the question there, Joker. I didn't see how he set up his flanking teams as opposed to the ones that he sent up the center. Do you rip those Illuminas and Genji Glove off of Locke and kind of pass it around?
I mean, it's going to depend on who he's got there and if there's someone there who can actually make use of those. I know Realm is one of them, and so it's probably already doing other stuff with Realm. I think Setzer's the other, and so Setzer's going to have the fixed dice.
That's a fair point, and with the offering in tow, you know, got a couple of pairs of dice, and with decent levels, that's going to be doing fairly consistent damage, and you can kind of brute force your way through pretty much anything at that point. But 2 statues left to go for Honeydew to get to the switches at this point, so let's see what we have on the left side. Mog leading the charge for that team, as Cheddarnook is down on Drinks Glue's side, so 4 bosses remain to Honeydew's 2 bosses at this point. So let's see what's in this statue slot. This would normally be Doom, and it is the flag set namesake Poltergeist, the spicy chicken. Yeah. Get out those emotes if you got them.
Yeah, so that does mean... I'm sorry. That does mean we're going to see a vanilla goddess on the other side.
Right, you are there, Joker. So we can know about that accordingly. But that wave cannon, Mog got it real sleepy from that, it looks like. And it looks like it's just going to be the gambler just throwing out there and hoping for the best here. So, you know, Honeydew just sitting back hoping for high rolls here. And there's one.
That's not one, though.
It's feast and famine with fixed dice, friends. They're fixed dice, and they're not fixed in your favor.
Luckily, it looks like he has a flame shield equipped on Setzer, so those Mertens are just going to keep him up.
That's for the best here. The only things he needs to avoid at this point are, well, stop would be it. Blaster would be a problem. S-Cross ain't going to do nothing for him at this point, so... Setzer just needs to keep hucking those dice, and since he's got haste, he's going to get a lot of turns in very quickly.
Yeah, so Glue did not go for that dragon.
Yeah, meanwhile, on Glue's side, just kind of pushing their way through and doing the vanilla pathing at this point. Whereas Honeydew's knocking at the door trying to take down Poltergeist and only have the Goddess remaining as the last guardian until the final climb.
Yeah, so it looks like Glue also divided the party with the intent to just go straight for the statues and isn't going to like warp out to reorganize, because I saw Realm on one group, Setzer on one, and Gao on one. So I think Glue has divided the party with the intent to just go straight for the statues.
Yeah, based on the amount of leveling they've done with those characters, that is a fairly even distribution at this point. But they still have a long road ahead. Honeydew got 1 statue left to go before the climb. We just cracked the hour mark with 1 boss to go. Honeydew, we're working on a heater here.
Yeah, and this is going to be Goddess versus Realm, basically. So we'll have to see what all Realm is going to bring to the table against that.
Well, it looks like Fixed Dice will be possibly in tow here. Just me hucking the dice out there from what I'm seeing. And I find this fun. It's Realm and Strago, going together here and having a bonding moment.
Well, I think Strago's probably going to take a nap fairly quickly, but
He's old, man. This happens all the time. Look, he didn't want to get out of the recliner. He just wants to take a nap. And then the Realm's like, let's go kill the God of Magic. And he's like, I don't want to do that. Let's do that tomorrow. But anywho, here we are against Goddess, and Realm has picked up Setzer's bad habit of gambling at a younger age. And here we are, Protect Me, Love Token, I don't think is going to be much of a problem. I like that Runic play with Strago. That's kind of fun. Good little
Runic can be a lot more useful than I think it sometimes gets credit for. There are definitely bosses that, it's not going to help against Water Edge. So I spoke too soon there.
Look, it happens at this point, but Strago got stuck in the wave pool, and now he's tired.
Yeah, the Water Edge is a thrown thing, so it doesn't count as a magic spell.
There's another one as well, the Nino coming out as well. So Goddess, for some reason, just going heavy on the water spells, oddly enough, even though that she is synonymous with lightning magic. And she's done. That is the last statue in the way of Honeydew here. Just basically no mistakes, no issues. And they're going to be able to regroup, get everyone together for the final climb. We have Golem in our pocket, so we have that calmness protection, which, by the way, a great thing to use on basically every tier. With the multi-summon, Golem is super useful because you have tier 1 that throws out punches with the big beefy arm. You have Hit in the second tier, Calmness Protection in tier 3, and even tier 4 you can block Havoc Wing and kind of save yourself at least once or twice from that too, which is not bad.
Yeah, and we did see on Glue's side that he did get through the Dullahan at Guardian spot, so he is still behind, but he's not that far behind.
Yeah, he's done very well for himself overall here, so it's Honeydew in the driver's seat here and trying to take this one home and keep Team Doomgaze undefeated in the Nemesis division. But we're hoping for the best here. We'll see what happens. But I got to say, Drinks Glue still put on a heck of a clinic here to get this far this fast without the skip. Just did
that's an unfortunate freeze.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough one at this point. But here comes the fire to get him out, and there goes Setzer. Let's go.
This is very heads up, I think, of Glue to just wait on targeting with Gogo so he could actually unfreeze Setzer right away.
Yeah, not a bad move there. Okay, well, we are on the switches at just under 104 on Honeydew's side. So do we want to place some bets here, Joker Mage, about how long do you think it's going to take for Honeydew to make it through the final climb with the gear that they have working with?
I'll go with 7.5 minutes.
That's a speedy climb that you're looking for. Those Illuminas will put in some work. We know that Realm has some pretty decent magic. Fire will take down the face. I'm going to say probably a little bit closer, maybe to 8.5 to 9 minutes. I'll say 9 minutes.
We got some people in chat putting down some times, and I fully expect to be wrong, so I'm not worried about that. But
seems like most folks here are around the 8-minute mark from what we're seeing here. Ultima coming out with some good work. Umaro taking a nap. He deserves it. He's a good boy. And here we go. Tier 1 underway. Take out the face first. We do have X Zone to get rid of the big beefy arm, the long arm you see there in the front. So we're going to be throwing that one out here in the meantime here. Kind of a low accuracy for that, so the X Zone can miss. Wow, big damage there coming out from Locke. Those dual Illuminas put in some work. Let's see if X Zone actually catches the arm and does on first try. That's going to definitely help things along nicely. Does the double cast just in case, but, the odds played in Honeydew's favor there. Illumina.
Yeah. And we're seeing him also sort of back up the road after that reverse polarity.
Busting out Fenrir for this. Again, offering image to everybody at this point. Not as good as Golem, in my opinion, but still will do a pretty good job of at least blocking some of those physical counter hits here. Nice damage, 15k for the double swing there from Locke. So he's going to get through tier 1 here. 6k from the Fire 3 dropping down. So very nice. The Poltergeist fight beginning on Drink's Glue's side, looking like Realm and Cella's going to be taking this one on.
And it looks like Ultima is going to be our ticket out of this fight.
Looking good here. 106 crossing the timer at this point as Honeydew climbing into Tier 2. I don't know if we have Mute in our pocket here or not, and I don't think we picked up Siren either, so I'm kind of curious how this one's going to work out. X-Zone will take care of tools, a little bit of gears and such that are behind Hit, the purple guy there in the front, or the blue guy, I'm not sure. Colorblind, don't mind me.
This is going to be one of the rougher ones, possibly just because if we don't have Mute, we can't do anything about magic. We don't have Stop in this flag set, I believe, so we can't do anything really about the blue guy. And there's no ice magic to take care of Tiger.
Oh, it looks like Realm did have Mute, so guess what? That's going to trivialize all of that. We don't have to worry about it. Here comes the X-Zone. Let's see if it gobbles up tools, and does. 2 for 2 today on the X-Zone. Even though he does the double cast, he didn't even have to. But, you know, hey, better safe than sorry. Works out. Illumina swinging on Tiger. Get rid of that nonsense. Here comes the Earth Wall. That's the Golem coming out to prevent against Hit. When Hit, the blue guy and the guy in front there dies. It's going to be throwing out a 10-hit combo. Well, you can't break it, but Golem will be able to absorb all of that based on the max HP of the person that uses it. And again, we get multicast. Poltergeist down after getting murdered by Murder Child with Ultima on Drink's Glue side. So should be one more statue to go until the final climb on their side too.
Yeah, so it's just going to be the Goddess. I think we saw Setzer and Gogo up on take the center one. So if I'm correct about the team composition, it's going to be Gao left to take on Goddess.
Interesting choice there. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. But at this point, Drink's Glue is aware of what elements are at play there, and maybe can, you know, set up equipment accordingly.
And I'm not really sure what we've had on Gao, but he's been there since the beginning, so.
Yeah, right you are. All right, so working on magic on this side. Nice Pearl proc there. That'll put in some good work against magic as we work that way down. And a double proc, that magic is basically going to be donezo. Yep, out comes the death counter dispel, which you can do even though he's muted. Just breaking the game, and Tier 2 is done. Off we go to Tier 3. Lady in sleep, or girl in sleep at this point. Basically, he can swing those Illuminas and not hope for those procs, though, because she'll absorb that Pearl. If we have anything else we could throw, she absorbs all magic. We want to get rid of that, but he's clearly going to have plenty of calmness protection available. Can keep on swinging. And here comes Ultima against Goddess.
Yeah, so Gao does have some answers, and that answer is Big Blue.
You love to see it. Merton open for Tier 3, followed by the Pearl Wind. Yes, of course. Let's see how we take down Girl here first, and then we'll focus on Sleep. And gets the double swing, no proc. Girl is donezo. She has exactly 9,999. Here comes Golem for our calmness protection. Now we just got to do about 30k damage or so to Sleep. So now this is what we're hoping for these procs, and he's going to get it. Let's see if we get the back-to-back here for Honeydew.
Yeah, if we can dodge the Meteo and train sequence, this should be all set.
Now that was a wonderful amount of damage. Here comes Meteo, though. I respect Honeydew trying to weight trick that, so I think that was a counter that came out. But here comes the fixed dice. Should put it over the mark and get ourselves into Final Kefka, potentially.
Not with rolls like that, though.
Ooh, but here comes the calmness.
Wait, never mind. We got calmness. All right.
Yeah, that double Pearl proc really put in some work here for Honeydew. Just absolutely just tearing through here. I'm looking at this right now, Joker Mage. We just cracked 110, and we're going into Tier 4.
Yeah, and Glue just finished off the last statue, so we'll be starting his climb.
Excellent runs from both of these competitors. We knew it would be a heck of a show here, Joker.
Yeah, and this has just been fantastic. It looks really like, so far the main difference was Honeydew be able to just really quickly hit that tower skip and just start like that much more ahead.
Yeah, it was just basically gas to the floor for a long time there. Again, I'm just blown away by that play of just going to just talk to Lone Wolf, and that was the check that put us over what we had to do there. So just a nice heads-up play overall from Honeydew. Off we go with Kefka. Can we get a Fallen 1 skip? Possibly, maybe. Depends on Fixed Dice and Illumina dropping some fireballs. Here we go. Can we get another Pro Proc? Nope. 14K, though, from that Illumina. Here comes Fixed Dice. 4K. Another 4K, about 3K or so for that. 3.2. 6K. And 2K. And yeah, the end comes beyond chaos. So we skipped ourselves Fallen 1 just to push here. No threat of any sort of counter at this point. So
Cracking shields.
Wait trick. Cracking shield. I respect it. Try to get it done as quick as possible. You're not going to need them. Just get locked to swing after we're done cracking these shields here. This should do it. Here we go. And time.
Yep, GG's Honeydew.
Taking a look at the race room here. And official time, according to the race room here, Honeydew has finished with a time of 1:11:44. What a fantastic time.
And we are joined by Honeydew. GG's, Honey.
Yeah, GG's.
Now, we did hear from the police. They want to talk to you about a series of break-ins at Mount Zozo and Figaro Castle.
I don't know what to tell you about that. I didn't see nothing, officer.
But that was just a really impressive run, making use of all the tools that the seed provided you with. You just found the Illuminas in the Coliseum, made really good use of that. It just seems like you put together everything you needed and just got what you needed.
Not gonna lie, the start had me a little bit worried. So when I went to Opera Dragon and Gold Dragon was there, things went off the rails immediately when the fight started because he one-shotted Realm. Realm was supposed to be the person that broke the Pearl Rod. And also she had the XP egg, so I was trying to get her back up, and this one thing led to another, and that fight didn't work out. The way it was supposed to play out was she was going to break the rod, Setsu was going to throw the dice, and that probably would have been the whole fight, because after the rod, he would have just had like 200 HP left.
And so going after dragons was your goal from the beginning?
It became my goal when I got the Pearl Rod. Because if you notice, I didn't do my free checks at the beginning. That was so the dragons could be at the absolute minimum level. So, all I had was like the one check like at the weapon shop. So they have the +6 scaling on the dragons, and I had one check. That means I was fighting against level 8 dragons. If I would have did all my free checks, then it would have been like much higher level dragons, and I wouldn't have been able to do like the Pearl Rod into like the 2 dice throws to get it.
Yeah, you definitely packed a lot of value into the amount of time that you had there, and just the optimization of the check just blew me away. And also, I commented about this multiple times, but the heads-up play to go and get the Lone Wolf check for the one that put you over the skip, like that's something that normally just doesn't even cross my mind as something that's available. Have you ever had to do that in the past? Is that something you just keep in your back pocket?
Haven't done it too many times, but it's like, so, while I'm running down to Magitech, I'm like, let's say, well, if one of the 2 like Magicite checks are dead, I'm gonna do Magitech 3. But if they're both alive, then I gotta decide, am I gonna go do Magitech 3 or something else? So I look over to my tracker and I look at what something else would be. Something else wasn't looking pretty. Like nothing on that tracker was good, except Lone Wolf 2.
Yeah, it was great play. Great play.
So I went and got my Dragon Horn that I'm never gonna use.
Yeah, how about those Illuminas for the X potion? I will say that we didn't see Drinks Glue even poke their head into the Coliseum at this point. So having those dualies basically just to work with there. Locke was slapping, and that was very efficient, fast damage. And it seems like you got the procs every time you needed them, and you know, didn't get them against Girl when you didn't need it in Tier 3. It was just very efficient.
Yeah, what determines whether I go Coliseum or not in the seed usually comes down to, do I think I can win a fight against like 95% of the monsters in the game? When I had Fixed Dice Offering, I was like, okay, I can win a fight against 100% of the monsters in the game. So I knew I could win any Coliseum fight. And I had just had Locke join like right before, so I was like, yeah, I gotta peek in there to see if they got like swords or snipers or something, because, you know, Slots Locke wasn't gonna do anything against the statues in game. And I said this in the last run I ran, like, from the moment I started the seed to the moment I set foot in Kefka's Tower, 100% of my focus is on trying to solve the statue fights. So I was like looking for a solution for Locke, and the solution was in the Coliseum. I already had 2 solutions. The both Realm and Setzer could use the fixed dice I saw at the beginning. So I was like, alright, that's 2 of the lanes solved, so I just need a 3rd guy that can take care of himself. And Locke became that guy, so dice the 2 side lanes, Locke and Gal down the middle.
And did you consider the curse shield at all?
Not at all. Yeah, it rolled a 16 this time, and in my first initial looting, which I gotta say, this is like some of the least early looting I've done in the seed. I don't think I even did Figaro Basement. But when I did my initial looting, I got a fire shield and an ice shield. So I was like, well, I got 2 elemental shields already, so the 16 is like too much of a hassle. I still had a lightning weakness, so that could have been a problem, but luckily I found a force shield, and you put a force shield on against Goddess is almost as good as having a thunder shield. Like, nothing's gonna hit you. But yeah, my shields were so good that I just sold a curse shield the second I needed money. If I wouldn't have had any elemental resistances, I might have been a bit more tempted. But the fire and ice shield is, yeah, Paladin wasn't happening. Yeah, I believe it was 16 fights to uncurse it. Like, all of Trench would have just been 4. Ozers would have been 2 more, then I would have to get like 10 more. Possible, but awkward.
Could be part of the reason, Joker, we were commenting about that Glue was taking so many fights just because they had to basically cover the spread for that, and hence why they were taking everything they could.
Yeah, and so on the, we did note at the beginning that your 2 teams are actually sort of the top of their group and are undefeated as far as like the group phases now, and that this, you know, definitely puts your team up ahead. So what are you hoping to see from your teammates this week?
Hope they do what they did last week. I actually lost my race last week, so the only reason my team won is because those 2 carried me. My teammates put me on their back last week, so I had to return the favor this week. Got another one of my teammates doing this race right now, PB&J, and be cheering Tilbert on whenever he does his. But been super satisfied with my team. Been like very active in like a little private chat with each other, and they just been putting in that work. Yeah, I couldn't ask for 2 better teammates. So very happy with them.
Well, very good. Looking like shifting back to the live action we have here. We have Drinks Glue about to go on to Final Kefka here, about 119 at this point here. Everyone's still in tow, doing a pretty good job overall here, so should be able to breeze through there at this point. But man, 111, Honeydew. I mean, honestly, there has to be like very little about this here, I think, that you felt went poorly or that you would have done differently, other than, you know, just some early Opera House troubles.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the route overall. Like, did not expect to find 2 characters by Sequence Break and Edgar. Like, I was just hoping for any live check. I didn't know it was gonna be 2 characters.
Yeah,
and
Locke and Strago, nice.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever found Edgar.
Yeah, all he would have been good for at that point was just for the throne. But yeah, that was way out of logic, but it worked out. And so whenever I was like 7-7, you saw like I had flew like to the ocean in the middle of the map before I went to Magitech. The reason I did that was because I thought for a second unlock conditions was 7 characters, 10 Magicites, so I was gonna go do Ebbett's Rock first, then go to Magitech. Then I remembered, oh wait, on this seed it rolled 9, so it's 7-9 unlock. So let me go ahead to Magitech and forget about Ebbets Rock.
Oh, speaking of, did you peek your head, maybe I'm misremembering this, did you peek your head into Esper Mountain and see it was Go-Go? I think you only had 6 characters at the time, and then you left. Was there a reason behind that?
Yeah, like, I know I was gonna go to Narsh after that, and Mog was like a high sphere character. He was like deep into the chick, so I was like, I know there's gonna be a character in Narsh somewhere. And if I'm wrong, I can come back and do this check like immediately. Like, it's a very tiny dungeon. So I was like, okay, let me go full clear Narsh. Let me go try and get to 9 Magicites. Then I'll come back and get Go-Go if I need. But just with how late Mog was in the, just because of like where Mog was in the seed, I was like, one of those 3 Narsh chicks is gonna have somebody.
And we found Umaro, you know, at Moogle Defense, so that chain that you followed was very nice overall. You picked up, you know, 2 pieces of Magicite and a character right within Narsh, and following that chain. And Goner getting charged up here for Drinks Glue, and that's Crack Boom at this point. Looking around the 121 mark. Let's see what that official final time is. And exclamation point done. Drinks Glue has finished with a time of 121.35. So just a shade under 10-minute difference between the two of them at this point. Again, Drinks Glue kind of fighting the uphill battle, though, not having the 4 dragons and having to do the full KT walk at this point here, but still expertly played on both sides here. Fantastic job.
Okay, and as you can see in the background, the Schwans is setting it up so we can see the other 2. I believe these are going to be your teammates' fights against Glue's fights, and I think we're just trying to get it set up right now.
It's pretty interesting that this is actually happening alongside. So PB&J and Shadow Sid, you know, getting this all set up. Pretty interesting here. Kind of curious to see how this one turns out, and you know, having that stake in there, very very nice. But Honeydew, any last remarks regarding the seed and how this experience was?
Just gotta say, I'm happy it worked out, and yeah, I was real nervous after how the Opera House went. It is insanely hard to beat Drinks Glue in a race. He is like top 3 in the whole community when it comes to consistency. It's like him, Falcon Hit, and Gar. Like, it's maybe like 1 out of 100 runs they have a bad run. Like, absolute consistent beast. So I was real nervous going into this one, but hey, happy I was able to get through it this week, and look forward to going at it again with him in week 6.
There you go. Great attitude overall. GG's Honey. Congratulations on taking home the dub this week, and now you can breathe easy until next week.
Yep. Gonna go get some Wendy's. I'll catch y'all later.
Yeah, the Wendy's versus Burger King. Nice. All right. Well then, so we got ourselves a race already in progress. It looks like we also have some other ones going on. We got Tybalt and Organ Dude going at it here also. So let's scramble and see where we have this. So check this out. We got some extra bonus action for you there, Joker Mage. How about it?
Yeah, so we're going to sort of get this is like the other 2 matches in the same group. So PB&J and Tybalt, I believe, are on the same team as Honeydew, while Strauss and Organ Dude are on Glue's team.
So looking at
correct me if I'm wrong there, though.
I mean, we're seeing Poltergeist on both sides here at this point for Shadow Sid and PB&J, from what I can see. And pretty similar timings from what I can see at this point too, versus, you know, Tybalt and Organ Dude 136. So we got everyone in KT for both of these races. We don't have to worry too much about the tracking as far as totals go. We know we're just trying to push our way through to the end at this point. So we'll see what matches we have set up and who's going where at this point. PB&J putting in some good work here. Pulling up the sheet to take a look now at our races here and see where we stand, as you had mentioned there, Joker.
Yeah, so I'm not as familiar with the sprites, but I believe the top two are fighting Doom flag set, while the bottom two are fighting Goddess flag set.
Yeah, Doom would make sense if we're seeing reflect, because you can get auto reflect in that.
Okay, PB&J, please, is at the final Kefka fight now. But it does seem like all of these fights are fairly close.
Yeah, so Tybalt and
Is a bit
PB&J
further
are Doom
behind,
Gaze,
unfortunately, yeah.
as you mentioned, and Organ Dude and Shadow Sid are Guardian. So, as far as trying to win the week at this point, so Honey has already taken a dub for their team. So either PB&J or Tybalt have to take a win here to secure the win for Doomgaze for week 3, whereas Organ Dude and Shadow Sid both need to win for the Guardian, overturn for week 3.
Yeah, and although Tybalt's behind, he has in the past 2 weeks shown a remarkable ability to sort of just come from behind. So he's not out of the fight yet by any means.
Right, you are. Some big levels on Organ Dude's side. They're 40 plus going into this one here, and Shadow Sid not too far behind PB&J. They're both on the switches at this point, so it's going to come down to the climb here and how they approach it. Since this is a Doom's Rage flag set Joker Mage, this very much favors melee damage and speedy melee damage. Bill getting that extra vigor buff to work with at this point. And it looks like PB&J has some pretty decent weaponry to work with.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Goddess Flex, I think, is a bit more magic heavy. So we do see at the Guardian spot there was a Vargas, and Organ Dude is already starting Final Kefka as well. So like I said, Tybalt is behind, but has been able to make up worse deficits than this in other races.
As we mentioned here, if PB&J wins this, that solidifies Doomgaze getting the W this week and claiming the top spot for the Nemesis division for the Warring Triads that we have. However, if Shadow Sid can clutch this out and Organ Dude continues onward here and is able to keep Tybalt at bay, that's going to be a Guardian win, even after Honey has already put up the work at this point here. So it's still anybody's race.
Yeah, and it is a very close race up top. Like PB&J's maybe half a tier ahead at this point. We do see Siren coming out.
Oh, looks like we got some Valiant Knife strats from Shadow Sid. You love to see it. Mog swinging. However, PB&J on tier 2 at this point. Can Shadow Sid pull this one out here at this point? Still plenty of time left. Big chonky damage. Atma weapon. Valiant Knife. Moving on to tier 2.
And tier 2 can slow a lot of runs down. There's a lot to do and a lot to work through. So this could be a potential spot to catch up.
Very nice heads-up play here on Organ Dude's side, getting float cast on everybody, just in case that Quake comes out, and did, for what it's worth. So don't have to worry about that if the face is the last one to die at this point. He's throwing out some AoE attacks.
Yeah. And on the bottom, we are seeing that how that Goddess Flag set affects things. Unfortunately, Tybalt looks like he had to reset. His Mog was already zombied. And that is one of the problems you face with the Goddess Flag set, is that dead characters just become zombies, so you can't use Phoenix Downs on them.
Yeah, speaking of dead characters, Shadow Sid getting bodied here by Tiger, I think, or Tool threw out Diffuser and knocked down two of their folks, Cyan and Mog, both down. Mog being the VK user in this case here, so has to pick them back up to kind of keep pushing. And speaking about pushing, though, PB&J, though, pushing on to tier 3.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any of their runs, so I wasn't really paying attention to any espers they've already used, so I'm not sure what they have in the way of calmness protection for this round.
Oh, unfortunately, Tybalt, though, with them taking that reset, is going to have to redo these switches here, unfortunately. And yeah, the Goddess flag set does present that problem because it is auto-condemn, which is the number you see above the characters, and auto-overcast, so any characters that die are instantly zombified, and you need to revivify to bring them back. So Shadow Sid, again, having difficulty. Looks like Maw got punched in the face and is taking a nap here.
Mega Licks are coming out on PB&J, please decide. That kind of makes sense if your guys need to survive a few more attacks.
Some nice shuriken throw there, 8K.
And it looks like Life 3 is our calmness protection because it's getting cast on everyone right now.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Pretty good overall. Here comes the Atma swings. There's 4 of them, about 4 or 5K a pop. And there's the calmness.
Blocked it with a shield and only one attack.
Not bad. So you carry that Life 3 with you into the Kefka fight, unless he uses Messenger, and that'll get rid of all of your stuff, unfortunately, from my knowledge. Basically just a mass dispel.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, PB&J looking to close this out potentially and solidify the win for this week for Team Doomgaze.
And we do have simultaneous tier 2s on the same team over there, Shadow Sid and Oregon Dude.
Yeah, with 2 different seeds, 2 different flag sets, but the same team. Pretty cool to see that.
Although the Doom flag set did appear to start 20 minutes after, based on the times we're seeing.
Yeah, that's correct, yep.
Okay, Fallen One is out. And he has more than one Mega Elixir.
So I believe the Doom's Rage flag set possibly has Mega Elixirs available as free item checks possible. I have to take a look at the item pools. I know that Mega Elixirs are in one of them. Oh, here comes an Ultima! But that's gonna be more than enough health though. Terra's got 7K health.
Yeah, all of them are able to soak that. That was a really nice spear throw there.
No fear. PB&J taking a Team Doomgaze, your winner in week 3. So Oregon Dude here to defend the honor of Team Guardian against Tybalt here, but it has to make it through the final climb. GG's to PB&J.
Tybalt did get through the Guardian fight, the Vargas this time, and is now doing statues.
I guess Golem's not getting cast. Oh my god, double meteor.
Oh, Shadow Sid getting some very, very difficult luck with Meteo here, just laying waste after getting tagged.
Let's revivify out of this real quick.
Just trying to work their way through. So we got fixed dice coming out on Tybalt's side with an offering on Doom, but very low rolls, unfortunately, looks like. Good heads-up play to wait trick.
I didn't need to waste that because we're
here still working their way through tier 2. Those timers are ticking, though. We got 4 seconds left on 2 of those.
Still in meteor phase. Cool.
And it looks like someone's already zombified. I think it was the Dragoon that jumped away because they have 0 health at this point. Shadow Sid, 3 down. This is some pretty scary moments.
Didn't see that coming.
Joker.
Yeah, we're getting
if you could
W wind out.
For like 1 second.
Oh, that hits. That's not great.
Some very scary moments here. Unfortunately, very tense for both Oregon Dude and Shadow Sid. And Tybalt getting through Doom, though, so we have access to a save.
I got more than just that.
Point here that Tybalt can
Did I
take.
use them all?
maybe just through
Oh, crap.
sheer grit and determination,
Look, he
Tibble
got
might
life.
be able to claw this one back, Joker, like you were saying.
Well, crap.
Yeah, I've seen him do it in
Look.
the last couple weeks, so it's entirely possible that we'll see something go wrong and Tibble's able to just
Oh
push
my
through.
god.
Hey, no retreat, no surrender, but unfortunately, Calmness coming out and taking care of Shadow Sid, having to go all the way back to the beginning of that climb there for that one, unfortunately.
And we do have both Honey and PB&J in chat. GG to you both.
Yes, huge GG's to both of you. Congratulations to Team Doomgaze. What a fantastic week 3. Tybalt trying to bring it home. Can they sweep at this point? Or Oregon Dude can play spoiler and carry that banner for Team Guardian. Shadow Sid back on the switches, going to be trying again, dusting himself off. This time it's personal. One more time with feeling. All right, going up against Goddess is Tybalt, throwing some dice out, hoping for the best. Gonna get some good rolls here, and gotta do some weight tricking. Looks like Sabin is zombified, and unfortunately Realm is love tokened, so she's gonna be taking some hits from Sabin here, it looks like. But let's hope for some good rolls to get through. We need better rolls than that, Joker.
Yeah, those weren't great, but luckily Zombie Sabin isn't doing all that much damage.
Yeah, he's just a warm body that has become cold at this point, so not too much to worry about here, not anything really crazy. But Realm's gotta be a better gambler.
Yeah, we're seeing ultimate casts coming out on Oregon Dude's side to try and get through this tier 3.
A good use there of it. Some good damage. Oregon Dude pushing, trying to get through it as fast as possible. Kieran coming out for Lifeguard.
Now that just casts the regen, right?
Yep, that's a mass regen on the entire party.
Fenrir's coming out.
Calmness protection. And Goddess is down for Tybalt at this point. So, Oregon Dude has to bring this home because Tybalt is just basically nipping at the heels here. Shadow Sid again playing that fast and loose style with the VK strats. Intentionally keeping Mog low on health there. Just unfortunately just had just a real nasty tier 3 to deal with.
Yeah, and with it just feels like you kind of got unlucky there with some of the targeting.
Moving on to tier 2. Here comes the Calmness, and the Fenrir is going to be protecting that. So Oregon Dude moving on to tier 4.
And it looks like Oregon Dude still has the starting party up, so that's good. And we know Oregon Dude has been throwing ultimates left and right, so that's probably going to be the strategy for tier 4.
Yeah, plenty of damage in their pocket to work with here. So again, firmly in the driver's seat, has a chance to take home the W for Team Guardian here as they lick their wounds in week 3 and get prepared for week 4. And Shadow Sid working on redemption. Terra dead once again, unfortunately, at this point. Mog swinging, doing some pretty decent work. They have image up on the entire party. They're trying to protect against those physical damaging attacks. And here we go. Final Kefka on Oregon Dude's side as we see Poltergeist on Tybalt's side.
Yeah, and Tibbles is working with a zombie Mog and a lock that has Magitech, it looks like. Oh, good targeting on that, because you certainly wouldn't want Lock to get hit with that kind of damage. Looks like Oregon Dude doesn't have any Mega Elixirs. He's using Heal Force from the Magitech to recover from the Fallen one.
That's fair. I mean, that's a pretty chonky single target heal, though. It's not too bad, especially depending on what the magic power is behind it.
Oh, and the annihilated on Tybalt's side. They got blasted by the poltergeist there, unfortunately.
Yeah, hate to see that, unfortunately. Not really much you can do about that other than prevent death, but how often do you have a safety bit of memento ring attached?
And Shadows is starting the fight again.
Yeah, so had some difficulties again, just having a hard time with the climb at this point, it looks like.
It looks like it was tier 3 again, or was it tier 2 this time?
I think it was tier 2 that they were kind of struggling. I kind of glanced down, been watching Organ Dude here, just trying to get through.
Yeah.
Rod 9 hyperdrive. Wow, took the hyperdrive to the face and did not live. Sorry, the zombie. But here we go, and beyond chaos. Can we crank out the damage fast enough?
I don't know if there's any more shields to break. We got a bolt beam coming out.
It's about around level 2 damage, bolt wise. Here comes Goner.
There's the Goner.
So this is where it gets scary, Joker Mage, because now we're out of that safe haven. We're going to take some damage here. We're going to have to recover from at this point. Now, Organ Dude's going to have to play this smart. And also, we're watching the time tick down. We have 2 zombies on the field, so if we have Revivifies, we need to get them on them as soon as possible here to bring the other crew up. As soon as they get Revivified, they're not going to get tagged. Casting Flare from Go-Go there. Thankfully, it's on one of the other zombies. Not a problem.
that could have been scary.
Yeah, doing 1,700, that would be enough to kill. And here comes Revivify on Murder Child. Love to see that. Very good. Havoc Wing misses because of the image. Okay, Go-Go jumping. That's scaring me. I'm just worried that Go-Go's going to accidentally proc something at this point, so I'm holding my breath.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not that much damage output that Organ Dude's really doing at this point. I don't know how much is left, but...
Yeah, I mean, they were able to push past the first part of it, and it comes beyond chaos. They definitely do not have enough health to make it through Goner at this point. They got to put together something.
Cyan's about to get condemned.
That's a crack boom. They clutched it out.
Zombie Go-Go with the save.
The undead MVP clutching it out from the jaws of defeat. Amazing. Organ Dude persevering and pushing through, bringing home at least a feel-good W and feeling for Team Guardian there. But again, big shout-outs to Tybalt, though, for pushing and trying to get that clean sweep for Team Doomgaze this week. But nicely done. Well played to Organ Dude. And look, we even have a cool little glitch with that. You see that sometimes because of everyone having image and such. It's kind of fun.
That is a green cherry.
Yeah, and this was just all like we saw a great run from 2 of the best in Worlds Collide, and then we saw the rest of their teams, and like probably
hit tools
like
every
2
time.
of the best teams in this
Slap tools in the face.
event.
I mean, honestly, Joker, the biggest
So
message
silly.
I think I want to say is that Worlds Collide is for everyone. You don't have to be just the best of the best, the elite players. You don't have to play absolutely 100% perfectly. You can enjoy yourself at any level of skill in this game and be involved with the community too. We fully encourage it and support it. It's awesome to have everyone together and leveling up their game together. And one of the best ways that you can get good at this game and get better at the randomizer is run races and then watch how someone that's more experienced run it and what they did,
cool.
what route they took, how they attacked it. It's something that can really help you and really up your own game as far as giving you some ideas on how you should have done things differently or could do things different the next time. And you keep doing that and get better and better. And yeah, it's kind of where we stand at this point. But a great showing overall from everyone today. All 6 racers we've seen from both teams.
Yeah, it would be fun to sort of hear
target
from maybe later on from some of the like PB&J and from Organ Dude, like what their routes were, because we didn't get to see it. We only sort of came in at the end here to see the final fights, and they were pretty impressive fights, pretty close races all around.
So Tybalt right now clinging to life. At this point, Mog is zombified. Locke is just trying to stay alive. Mog got stopped though. Actually, if that did hit, And busting out the ice beam, that's 1.6k. That's very low damage that Tibble trying to push through here. Very scary. But getting lucky here. Unfortunately at this point, so trying to push through. So again, we talked about this previously, Joker, that you constantly have in the back of your mind when you're playing these flag sets. You know the statues are lurking, and you need to kind of plan accordingly for this, that your damage is going to be high enough to get through it, and that's the real scary part of what you're piecing together.
I think that might have been a misclick. It looks like he did use the fire beam on Poltergeist. That's not what you want to be doing at all. But generally, like, my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that Magitech is not a really great end game tool unless you are able to get the facility unlocked and can have it on someone with a lot of magic power.
You do not want
Ideally,
to
that
get
is the case. Tech Missile is a non-elemental that has decent damage. If you have the magic power to do it, it kind of drops off in the end game. It's very strong early and mid. But like I'd said, that the beams are roughly like around like tier 2 spells. I think it's like basically like fire, either 1.5 or 2.5, you know, respective elements at that point. They are completely outclassed by tier 3 spells and pretty much anything else you can get. If you do get that upgrade, which you can't get in these flag sets, so even if you completed the Magitech Factory, you won't be getting that Tech Missile. You're kind of stuck with this at this point. But it's nice to have access to all of the elements, especially with things you normally can't get. But yeah, we're seeing it drops off there at this point, and it looks like Tybalt, unfortunately, having to exit or potentially go back in for what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and I feel like this might just, you know, be the correct play at this point, because that lock Amog combo was just not going to ever get through that Poltergeist, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. If you don't have the DPS to push through that and just like you're just hitting, you know, just slamming your head into a wall in this one, then you got to reassess, and I respect that. Just stack that one side that you need to get through at this point with your big damage dealers. Get to the switches and get to that final fight.
Okay. Thank you for hitting Mog.
And hey, Shadow Sid back to tier 3 once again. We're hoping
it looks
for the
like
best here.
He's in slightly better shape than previous attempts. Like all of his characters are up. He's got Golem out now.
Yep, we're swinging
I
at
should
the
line
weapon.
up better.
Swinging possibly Ragnarok Merton coming out here. Doing okay damage here, but that's going to help Mog swing with the VK. Here we go. It's about 20k damage here off. Are we at Calmness? And we got that Calmness protection.
That's what I was looking for.
We're good to go. We don't even need it. Look at that. Beautiful. Love to see it. Shadow Sid going off to Final Kefka.
Yeah, we've seen the Realm just block a lot of stuff in, well, everyone's race so far.
Mog and then queue up a Mega Elixir.
Okay, so now all Shadow Sid has to do is just throw damage out, and that Mog being weak with the Twin Valiant knives should help with that.
Yeah, we should be able to skip the Fall 1 and get right into Goner and just basically just circle it right back around and let Mog start swinging again. And we should be okay to try to get this one done. You know, fingers crossed. We'll see how things go for Shadow Sid. He's had a pretty bad go of it as far as luck goes, and having to go climb through here multiple times, unfortunately.
Yeah. It looks like Tybalt got a little turned around there and ended up looking at the balcony spot in Group 3's section.
And that does happen. But otherwise, it should be a pretty leisurely stroll through KT just to get back to that point. Got one statue left to go, and then that final climb for Tybalt. Okay, KT, or sorry, Final Kefka here for Shadow Sid. The end comes beyond chaos. Doing a little bit of weight tricking here along the way. You gonna start
just
swinging?
needs to.
What are we doing?
Probably just looking for damage somewhere.
So Atma weapon instead of VK here, because the health was all the way up. That's 10k for a swing. 13k with a flare proc. About 17k. Here comes another Atma weapon swing. About 27k, depending on what they did previously. And that's cracked.
Beautiful.
Shadow Sid has done it. We're through, folks. And then there was one. All that remains here is Tybalt just to walk their way through and to get through that final statue before their own final climb. GG's to everyone that we've seen this evening here. Again, big shout outs to Drinks Glue Honeydew, PB&J Please, Shadow Sid, and Organ Dude. So last but not least here, we got Tybalt to wrap up here, and big determination to push through here. And again, I like the heads up play of being able to get out of there and reorganize and get through this poltergeist fight here. So we'll see how this one works out. I didn't catch which lane it's going to be in, but we'll see.
Yeah, and hopefully we're not like Tybalt won't get the lanes mixed up, because I know has happened to people, even experienced racers before, when they've had to go back through. You send the wrong person left or right, and you realize you just sent the wrong person into that last statue.
Yep. That is a very common issue, and it's very simple to get mixed up here at the end, unfortunately. And there's no real way to undo those decisions once you get in there, unfortunately. Once they're kind of locked in once you have them locked in on the left and right side, they're kind of stuck. The center lane can walk out, so you don't get stuck in Kafka's tower, but unfortunately, you're kind of locked in with your decisions. All right, friends, I think what we're going to do is we're going to see how Tybalt fares with Poltergeist, and I think we're going to go ahead and sign off for the evening here as we've had all the teams kind of wrap up. We'll see how this goes for them, and we'll close things out. As a early farewell to you fine folks, appreciate those that have hung out this evening and checked out the races here. Again, as a friendly reminder, check out ff6worldscollide.com, join the Discord. Happy to help us out. This is the Warring Triads event that we have going on. Still plenty more races to come, folks. So definitely check out the FF6 Worlds Collide Twitch channel, YouTube for match uploads, and keep your eye out there for other races that are happening this week, for some other teams that are wrapping up here as well. But still, plenty of weeks to go at this point. One more final attempt. We're stacked pretty heavy here, so we'll get through the Poltergeist fight, and we'll call it a night, friends. So, hoping to hear this one. We got a full party, a full stack using Flare. We have Ultima. We have all the tools at our disposal here, Joker Mage.
Yeah, we're not going to have to rely on Ice Beam at all for this, and it should go much better.
Yeah, we have a lot more DPS to work with, a lot more bodies here. So again, Tybalt doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it feels bad, but sometimes the answer is back out, reorganize, and just take it with a better composition.
Agreed. Sometimes, I mean, honestly, sometimes you have to spend time to save time, and that's kind of a weird concept. And I am definitely a victim of the sunk cost fallacy, where you're kind of like, okay, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's do it. But sometimes that, just kind of brute forcing your way isn't the best or most efficient way of doing it. And again, big shouts to Tybalt for recognizing that and pulling the trigger on that and making that happen here with the crew. Here comes Merton. Let's see how that takes care of his team. Oh, that was a single target. That was a Merton that was all centralized on one person. So Cyan is a zombie. Good rolls here from Realm. Quad 9, South Cross coming out.
And as we are wrapping up shortly, we did get raided by one of our runners, Shadow Sid. Thanks for the raid.
Yep, GG there, Shadow Sid. Some hard luck with the climb, but glad to see you actually make it through. So nice work there, friend. And hopefully we'll see Tybalt get through this Poltergeist, and we'll call it a night here, friends. At this point, we can end on a dub there. And we do. He does get through. Nicely done. Well played. Again, friends, I'm Retrophile TV. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Joker Mage, any final words for us this evening?
If you liked anything you saw or may think you might like anything you saw, definitely come and join our Discord. Links to it are probably going to be in the chat, definitely on the website. Hope to see you there.
Right, you are. Well, I'm Retrophile TV. That's Joker Mage. Again, big shouts to the Schwantz for running things behind the scenes, the tracking, the streaming, the cropping, all of those things. Shout out to SpeedGaming for allowing us to do our thing here every Wednesday. So definitely follow us for more action here as well. Much love, everybody. We'll see you around for more Warring Triads action. And thank you, friends. Have a good night.